Hey there everyone, this is Mystic Fish and welcome to episode 16 of our Factorio series on building a cellular megabase. Last episode we got ourselves some solar cells built, so those were pretty exciting. And we have a few anomalies to go and look at. And let's see, well, one of them is that one of our viewers, John, correctly caught that in the process of setting these up, we didn't actually put the chests in for this this second battery chem plant, and so we can fix those, and we'll update these blueprints in a moment. So we'll just fix these out here in the wild. Let's see. The second thing that we noted was, I commented that when we're stamping down one of these cells, we initially get, even though we have a supply of, a backlog supply, when we get the initial demand, like we're getting soft warnings for water and oil because we initially asked for 2 train loads worth of each of those things, but we only have 3, right? And so that's firing the soft alarm. And okay, that's not great. And one of our viewers, Paistro, said, you know what, why don't you just, you got plenty of water pumping with all these offshore pumps, why don't you just jam a few more tanks in here? And there's a certain attractiveness to that for sure. There's definitely enough production up here. I do think we're gonna need more water cells anyway down the line, because especially if we want to be able to construct more than one cell at once. And to be honest, updating the blueprints with the landfill and so on is a little time consuming, so I'm just going to be lazy and say the whole point is we'll just stamp another one of these out. On the other hand, I said, well, but wait a minute, what about oil, right? Like for each one of these fluid wagons, we've got 4 tanks. They seem to all be full, except for the ones closest to the train. And in fact, if we look at this one, that's computing how many train loads we have ready, we're only getting an input of 799K, right? Each one of these closest tanks is just short of full, even though there are full tanks on the other side and pumps ready to pump stuff in here. And the one thing that's pumping out is not currently pumping, and the pipe on the other side of it is full anyway. So I have no idea why this first row of tanks is not full, but so if you have an idea as to why that would be, I'd be curious about seeing that in the comments. But in the meantime, we'll probably have to just build another oil cell somewhere. But the more interesting thing that I want to look at is, if you remember, when we were building this second solar cell, we ended up missing a handful of solar panels, and they all ended up back here in the buffer chest and on the train. And so the question was, well, wait a minute, we didn't have any logistics spots. How did that happen? And my current theory for that is that when we build roboports, they show up with a certain amount of battery, right? You can see like there's a little bit of red electricity down there on the lower right-hand side. But robots can still come and recharge themselves here. So I think what happened was that we plunked down, maybe this roboport, just for example, maybe we plunked this down, but because, what we selected for the construction bots to construct just didn't happen to pick this substation for a while. And in the meantime, robots came through and charged themselves on this as they were putting stuff down, in this area. But at some point, they actually drained all the battery out. That's going to wink its sort of roboport area out. And I think robots that were on their way to put solar panels down, when this thing ran out of power, said, wait a minute, I don't have any construction to do, or, there's no construction in my construction area that I can do. So they gave up and they said, I have to put these solar panels back somewhere. And it just so happened that the highest priority place target to put them was this buffer chest. So I think that's what happened. And so I have an idea for how to fix this, and that's by having our construction. Right now we have a 2-phase construction, right? Which is first we do all the construction, and then second we put the logistics bots in, right? That's what this little stuff does here. I think if we add another stage where in the first stage, all we put in is basically electric poles and substations and roboports, we can build all that stuff first. Because there's not so many of them, they should be able to get constructed or reduce the chance that we run out of our ability to construct that stuff. But in particular, even if they did and they put stuff back, they would come back around and fill stuff in because in particular, if we did not put the railroad tracks show up in this one, if we did not make those available to the construction bots right away, the initial builder train that's in here would not be able to pull forward anyway. So I think that would also help us. But I think that reduces the chances that we end up with construction bots that can't put something somewhere. And then as a second phase, we can do all the rest of the construction. And then third phase, logistics bots again. So I have an idea for how to do that. I'm going to meet you over here in our sort of blueprint editing area, and we'll be back shortly. Okay, here we are over here with at least the builder portion of the solar cell blueprint. We don't have the resource drop off in here at the moment, but that is okay. I don't think we're going to be modifying that bit right now. Let's see. One thing that we need to remember to update is this one. We need to put those in. So that is good stuff. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how we're going to do this phased construction. So I think the main thing this means is that we're going to need to put some offload into steel chests. So the stuff in here is not initially available to the construction bots. And then we'll control the inserters that make them available to the logistics network. So we will do that. We need to do this one as well. And then this is the one that I think is going to have to work in stages. So the construction bots go in here. And I think we've got some room for some circuit stuff down in here. So I think this is where we will do our work and put our roboports and electric poles in cliff explosives, actually, because we need to make sure that the bots can put down those electric poles too. And then we need to similarly get the final train covered like this. Okay. Let's see. We're going to need to update some of our logic in here. So let's put some of this stuff in here, and I think we're going to revamp this stuff. Okay, so let's remind ourselves a little bit about how this works. We've got this decider combinator is just pulling our clock signal off of our global network so that we can screen out all the other stuff that's on there, like the various supplies of the various resources and things of that sort. This decider combinator is telling us if we have busy construction bots. And currently this is looking for the number of available bots to be less than 50. I actually think we want to change this to be T, which is the total number of construction bots, right? So we have busy bots if the available bots is less than the total bots for construction. So that's actually when we have busy construction. And I think that's a little more robust in case we don't have exactly 50 construction robots for some reason or another. And then if we remember, this is where we are checking if we've got busy construction bots compared to the clock signal, then we're remembering the construction bots are busy. Okay. And so it's only when the construction bots have not been busy, and so when that's the case, the input here will only be the one that's coming back around on the loop back, right? We're putting only a 1 back out here because this one will not be firing, right? When the available bots equals the total bots, then we do not have busy construction bots. And so this will only be a 1. And so the next time the clock comes around, the 1 is not greater than 1. And so this will clear. Okay, so far so good. So let's figure out then how we can get Actually, I want a decider combinator. So when can we say that the construction bots have been idle? I think that this is only going to be the case if the clock signal is greater than the construction bot signal. And so this is going to only be true when the clock is 1, right? Because that can only be 1 or 0. And the construction bots coming out of here can only be 1 or 0. And so, I think this is the time that we want this to be true. And when this is the case, we're going to fire a new signal that we're going to call I for idle construction bots. Okay, so let's connect the clock signal in here, and then we'll get the construction bot signals from here. We're going to use a green wire off of this output so that it doesn't interfere with the loopback here. And because we used a green wire here, we'll use a red wire coming in here. And so that will give us a clean idle signal here. Okay, so far so good. All right, now next, I think what we're going to do is we're going to set up a little state machine, very similar to what we did in some of the early episodes when we were building a little state machine related to managing our train stations. And so we're going to, I'll put a link to that earlier episode if you want to see how this stuff works. I'll try to go over it a little bit, but our states are going to be represented by these SR latches and with a loopback for memory. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say the first state is going to be signal 0. So this will be phase 0 construction. And the reset signal here will be being in phase 1. And if this is the case, then we'll remember we're in phase 0. So that's how that one works. Then for phase 1, we will remember that we're in phase 1 as long as we haven't seen its reset signal, and its reset signal is going to be the logistics bots. And then finally, we have the logistics bots. There's no reset signal for this. Once we've gotten to logistics bots, then we're always in logistics bots. So we just need to remember the fact that we've gotten to that point. Okay, so those are going to be our 3 states. So now we have to work out a little bit of our transitions. So let's talk a little bit about the initial state here. So when are we ready to be, because none of these will all be 0 when we start. So how do we start? This is going to start with, we're going to start with an arithmetic combinator, and I think what we want to do is we want to multiply. We're going to watch for the clock signal, and then we're going to multiply by the total number of construction bots. And so so this will be 0 most of the time, but when a clock fires, if we have construction bots, this will be a positive number. And when that's the case, but it will only fire for the 1 tick that the clock is 1. So when that's the case, then I think we stick a 0 out here. So we can put that in there. We can take the C over from here into here, and we can take the total construction bots into here. Okay, and that takes care of entering phase 0. Okay, entering phase 1, that will be the case when if we are in phase 0 and we see the idle construction bot signal, then we're going to be ready for phase 1. All right, so phase 0 is when we're just doing roboports and electric stuff and cliff explosives. Phase 1 is the rest of the construction. And then the logistics bots are the final state when we put the logistics bots in. Okay, so let's see. We need to get all of our states together here. And then, so if we get our state 0 coming in from here, we need our idle signal coming in from here. And then if we've got a 1, we're going to use that to fire the 1 signal. Okay. And then we are going to, actually, let's move this one here. Okay. If we are in phase 1 and we see idle bots, idle construction bots, then we are ready for logistics bots. Okay, so we need the states are coming in over here, so those can go in like this. The idle signal comes in here, and then logistics bots goes into there. And I think those are all of our transitions. So that is pretty good. So now, let's see, we're also having the red ones coming in here. So we need to put that in here to fire this. Then, let's see. We also need to control some of these inserters. So we can also bring this over here. So this inserter should fire if we're in phase, I guess it should be allowed to operate if we're in phase 1 or logistics bot phase. So that's really just we're not in phase 0. Is that what we want? No, we should probably explicitly look for phase 1 because there may be an initialization problem here where we're not in phase 0 at the beginning. So, all right, so this is going to be enabled if phase 1 is greater than 0. So if we're in phase 1, you can stick stuff in there. Okay, that's good. Let's see. This will be the same for that one. And then this one will also be the same. So we can get these red wires over here. Let's see, paste. Okay, so phase 1 greater than 0. All right, so that takes care of those. Okay, good stuff so far. I am going to get one more decider combinator here. And we're going to say if the logistics bots are greater than 0, then output just the logistics bots. And so this will just screen out the other signals here. So we've got the states from here are coming in over here. So that will bring the logistics bots when we have it. And then if we remember this, it needs to be on the red wire here so that it can go back to our thundering herd solution back over here. Okay. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Okay. Next. Okay, now, here's where we've got a little bit of magic to do. Because what we want here is we want only certain things to come through here. So we want to allow medium electric poles, big electric poles, substations, that's all our electric stuff, roboports, and cliff explosives. These are what we want to allow to come across at first. Okay. Now, it just occurs to me that I have to re-look something up. Let me see if I can find this real quick. And no, all right, I'm gonna have to look this up and find it because there's a little bit of math magic we have to do. So I will be right back. Okay. All right, this is something that I have not invented. I researched it, and so I'm going to do my best to explain how this thing works. Okay, so what we really want to do is, the trick is we want to look at the contents of this box, and we need to change this. This wants to be a filter inserter. Oh, sorry, there's one more thing here, which is we also need this control signal to cover this guy so that we don't stick the logistics bots in right away. Okay, good. Okay, so the trick is what we want to do is we want to set filters on this, so that if there's any of this stuff in this box, then those are the filters that we want to make available first. Okay, and so here is the trick. We get an arithmetic combinator, and we feed it these signals, and let's see, actually yes, that's right. We feed it these signals, And what we do is we set this so that we say each times, and now there's a magic number here, which I'm going to grab and cut and paste here. So times this constant, paste. Paste? Come on. I'm copying it from another window here. Paste. There it is. Okay. So what is this? This is a giant negative number, and it just so happens that this is the most negative number that you can set here, and it's important, which is if you subtract 1 from this number, then you will loop around to a high positive value. This is the way sort of the arithmetic works here. And so what that will do is it will take all of these numbers and all of these signals and give them a very large negative number. Very large negative number. Okay, but everything else will still be 0. Okay, so then the next thing we do is we get a decider combinator, which is this guy. Decider combinator. And what we do is we get the contents of this box, we get the output of that thing, and what we say for anything that's less than 0, then go ahead, whoops, and output it. Okay, so what is this going to do? So if there's any stuff in here that's one of these things, right? Remember, we're going to get a huge negative value out of here, and then, you know, okay, we'll add in a small positive amount that's in the box, at least relatively speaking, and so that will mean any one of these items that's in the box will end up with still a pretty large negative number, but anything else that's in here, right, will end up with a positive number, right? Because that won't be in here or out of here, and it will just have the contents of the box here. And so those will all get screened out. So all that we'll have left is, and including, right, if we've already unloaded all of the medium electric poles, then this will be then there won't be anything in here, right? And so. Right. Okay. So anything, or it'll be right. Those will still be 0. And then what we do is we add back in. So these results, what we do is we add this stuff back in. And so the result of this will be. Let's see, we'll put it here. And so we'll set filters here. Okay, so let's talk about what's going to happen here. Oh, sorry, there should be each. Okay, so if there's anything in here, if one of these items is in here, it'll end up with a negative number. It will be passed through here. But then because we add another negative number to that largest negative number, it'll come back around as a positive value, and so we'll see it show up in a filter. When we're out of those, right, when one of these things is 0, this will still come through as negative. It will come through as negative here, but then because this is 0, we will just add that large negative number back in again, and so that will get screened out because yeah. All right, so that's how that should work. But actually, before we do that, we actually don't want to do this. Okay, what we actually want to do is we need to figure out if we are actually in phase 1. And so we need another arithmetic combinator. And for this, what we want to do is we want to say, give me the output from here, give me our states from here, And what we want to do is we want to say each times phase 0, output each. So when we're in phase 0, all of these signals will come through, and we can use that to set the filters on this guy. Set filters. Okay. And then the final thing that we want to do is we want to take the contents of this box. We're going to say anything that's in this box, if we're in phase 1, then you should also set the filters. So that goes there, and our states go in there. Okay. Whew. That is a lot of circuitry here. Okay, but I think that does what we want here. So that's good. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to update our train schedule here, because we need to make sure the right stuff is in that one car. Right, so this is the third car, is the one where we have to put all of the, which is this one. And so this is where all the electric poles and cliff explosives have to go. So we need to take these out of here and put them in here. What else we got? We need to take the large electric poles, 2 of those, 2 substations, and 2 cliff explosives out of that car and put them into this car. Okay, so big electric poles, substations, and cliff explosives. Okay, so those all have to go into that car instead, which means that we have to also put them in, we have to update our buffer chests here. So we need to find, what was over here? The medium power poles, this guy. So we need to clear you there, and we need to clear you there. And then we need to find an open spot. Sure, this one. So you're gonna ask for 50 here, and then you're gonna look for the medium electric poles, okay? Everything else was in this first car. Okay, so here, let's see, here's the large electric poles. So we need to clear that filter, and we need to clear that. And then we need to put, you're going to ask for 100 here, and then you're going to look for them to load them. Let's see, where's the substations? Here's the substations. Okay, so we need to clear that. We need to clear that. And then we need to put the substations in here. So we need 100 of those. And we need to look for substations here. And then finally are the cliff explosives, which are here. So we need to clear you from there. We need to clear you from there. And we're going to put you in here. You're going to look for cliff explosives. 40. We're going to put cliff explosives in here. Okay. Wow. Great. Okay. I think that covers our circuitry here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera for a minute because there's a little bit of work that we have to do here. So I'm going to need to update I'm going to have to go re-update the bill of materials. We definitely changed around some stuff. Definitely have more combinators over here. We have more steel chests, things of that sort. So I'm going to have to update the manifest or bill of materials here. Generally, we have to update this blueprint, but I also have to update the existing solar cells because we changed the builder train configuration here. So we have to update that. We have to update the buffer chests and the bill of materials, at least on the existing cells. We don't have to, and we have to take a new stem cell blueprint as well. So I'm going to do all that stuff off camera, and when we come back, we're going to try to test this thing. Okay, we are back. We have an updated stem cell. builder portion of the solar cell, and then the full solar cell itself with our new construction bits to it. So let's try to build this thing. Let's put this in and peruse it a little bit. Looks like we do have, oh, looks like neighbor robots are coming in to put some stuff in here. Okay. Looks like we got our, okay, these inserters all seem to be controlled. This one, okay. We're getting our clock signals in here. Yep, there's our not a clock D. Okay, this looks all right. We don't need, I guess that one doesn't technically need to be part of the blueprint. So let's take you out. Let's test without you. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the robots and then let's see what happens. Okay, so here's our updated solar cell. Let's paste that in. Let's see, do we have a builder train inbound? We do. Got neighbor robots building stuff. Okay, I guess they may succeed in building, let's see, how far over does this go? Yeah, they may build some of the stuff that we have here, but let's see. We're unloading stuff in here. What are your filters set to? Your filters are not set to anything. Possibly because, why is that? Okay, we're getting our output signals. Oh, we may not be in phase, all right, now we're in phase 0. Okay, now we're putting stuff in. All right, let's see. Okay, we succeeded in just unloading into the storage chest. We have construction bots in here. Why are we not constructing? You definitely have things to construct. Oh, there we go. Okay, now they're working. Putting in substations and roboports. Okay. So far, so good. We're still just unloading down here. Oh, here goes some more stuff. There goes a bunch of roboports. That's cool. We have more roboports coming in. There's roboports down here. The main thing, I want to see that we get this roboport in here with power. Here's more power coming in. Okay, we succeeded in powering everything. We should probably get some idle construction bots shortly down here. Right, so these are even. So now we're not getting the construction bots here. That got cleared. So are we in phase 1 is the question. We need the clock to come back around, probably. So this should, there it goes. Okay, now we're loading the rest of the stuff. Okay. That's cool. That is cool. All right, so that is phased construction. So I'm gonna go off camera for a minute. We'll be back once a lot of this construction is done, and hopefully we'll see the logistics bots trigger, so stay tuned. Okay, we are closing in on the end of construction here. Just a few more items left to go. It seems like we did that without missing any materials, so that's good stuff. And now it's just a matter of waiting for the logistics bots, hopefully, to come in. Let's see, we're no longer busy waiting for this, so that means we should get a clock signal to tick us around in a minute and activate the logistics bots. Somewhere less than 30 seconds should be. Hopefully this part, we didn't break this part here. And there go the logistics bots. All right, this was a success. Here's our new builder train, which can go... Actually, I don't want you to go there. I want you to go here. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. This builder train's ready to go. Okay, sorry for the interruption there, but as we were saying, I think that was a successful test of our phased construction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go offline and I'm going to update all of the rest of our blueprints to use the new, to be compatible with the new stem cell. And when we get back, I think we're going to start stamping out a few extra cells. So stay tuned for that. Okay, we are back. We have our blueprints updated. And so we are going to, I think what we're going to do, and we may do this depending on how long it takes, we'll see, but I'm not going to do this real time. I'm either going to do it with sped up video, or we'll do some quick cutscenes here as we build this stuff out. But we'll, I think, add an oil cell here and add another water cell up here. So stay tuned and let's see how this goes. Okay, quick interlude here. As I've been building out the solar cells, I have noticed we're still seeing signs of the thundering herd problem. And so I have a couple more things that I want to try here. The first one is, I think we need to make sure that every station when it comes in has the enabled conditions set up. And in order for that to be true, it needs to have a circuit condition when it's built. Now, we're already building in phases, so the substation should always be there. So I think if we add this wire here, then both of these stations will always be built with a wire attached, which means this will always show up, and so it will not be enabled by default. So I think that will be helpful for us. And then I think we need to do the same thing down here. So we need to just make sure there are green wires to each of these stations. And then the last thing that I want to try is I do want to make sure that this is where we are calculating the demand that gets put on our little train network here, station network. And this is the raw demand, and so this can be up to 3 for the mineral resources. And I think what we want to do is, I think we just want to add one more step here, which is that let's take this off of here, and let's see, I guess it also goes in here. Let's also take it off of here. And instead, because this is the one that says, that restricts to a single 0 or 1 signal. And so I think what we want to do is we want to say each times logistic spots. Output each. And so this will wait until we have actually turned on the logistic spots. And so we can have this go into here, and then we can have this one go into here. And then this is the output that will go into our demand calculators, and it will also go onto the train network or station network. Okay, so I think that, we'll see if that solves our problem. I think that protects us a little bit more in that we should not have any demand showing up. This for sure means that these will be built disabled, right? Because these will always be looking for these. Which is not the case if a station gets built without circuit connections. And so, for example, before we added the green wire to here, it was possible for this one to get built first and for none of the other things that it's attached to on wires to be built. And so that means it would be built enabled at first, which is maybe not great. So I think that's going to help us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and update our blueprints to keep that in mind, and we will continue scaling our solar cells. Okay, we are going to try our updated solar cell here and see if that solves our Thundering Herd problem. So stay tuned and we'll add some commentary when we get to those points. Okay, so we can see all of these stations are coming in disabled. So these two haven't been built, but these two came in disabled, which is what we want. We're seeing the demand here, but not here. Oh, is that the input signals that we want? You're getting 1s out. Why are you getting input signals 2 in? That doesn't seem right. Let's just take this off here. Let's do this with a loopback. Oh, I had 2 connections, that's why. There we go. Okay, we are back in. We've got everything disabled. Everything is in. They're disabled with limits of 0. So I think that will hopefully work. We'll just see when the logistic spots turn on that we have got our demands working once they come in. Again, since this train has been built, we can get out ahead of the train alarm and just get that guy going. We can go back somewhere else. And yeah, we'll be back after construction's done. Okay, we are back, done with construction. We've got everything is still disabled, train limit 0 down here as well. So I think this worked. So let's just hopefully we see a train coming in once the logistics bots kick in. And we'll see if we've solved the Thundering Herd problem or not. It did occur to me while we were watching this one that because these are also getting constructed, and in fact this time they got constructed by the neighboring cells. And so I think it's good that we have multiple layers of protection in here. All right, here come the logistics bots. And now are we getting, yes, we're getting our demands out here. And that should mean he's got a train limit of 2. That doesn't seem right. Okay, something about this didn't work. Oh, our demand stuff is not working. These are ones. We've got all kinds of stuff coming in here right now. That does not seem working correctly. I think... Wow, we've got eight inbound. That's crazy. Okay, this has 2 out of 0, 2 out of... So they all showed up all at the same time. That doesn't seem right. Okay, I guess it's because... I guess what we want is we actually want... We don't want this. We want the output of this coming in here. Alright, these all have train limits of 0. But this is still not right. What are you getting in? You're getting 63. That's probably right. You have an output signal of -1. And so that's 0. So where did you get the... I guess we had 2 come in at the same time. Alright, well hopefully we can clear this out of here. Oh, we got stuff back. We got stuff all backed up here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Let's see, who can still get out of here is the question. Okay, you could... Can you get out of here? You can't get out of here. But you can. You go home. You can't go home. Can you go home? All right, we're gonna have to go do some manual driving here. Okay, this totally did not work. This totally did not work. Okay, well, that's par for the course. I'm gonna go get this undone and then we'll see if we can figure out what happened. Okay, we are back and let's see, we have done a lot of stamping out of solar cells here, up to 25 of them. And I think we're ready to take a look here. So if we turn on the electric network, we can see that the herringbones are obviously all connected, but this is actually the single connection back to the original base in our nuclear power plant, which is right here. And if we check around the outside, we don't actually connect to any of this stuff around the outside here anywhere else. So we're sort of air gapped here between the rest of this, but the nice thing is that the laser wall is still powered from the original base. So if we get this wrong, we don't lose our defenses. But let's take a quick look here at the power. If we look over the last 10 minutes, we can see here the blue are the solar panels. And I think the thing that I'm mostly looking for is that while the solar panels are active, once we're in full daylight, we are not using the steam engines at all. So this is a flat line at 0 here, which I think means we're producing enough stuff. We won't really be able to check the accumulators and stuff till we disconnect things, but I think we're ready to do it. So let's go ahead and disconnect things. And let's take a look down here at what we've got here. I guess a minute's probably better to see here. So we are indeed running on solar power here. What I'm really curious about will be to see what happens once we get to nighttime. So I think what we'll do is we'll do a little time-lapse video here to get up to the point at which the sun starts setting, and we'll see how we do through the night. So stay tuned. Okay, we can see the accumulator is starting to kick in here. So we should just have a few minutes of daylight here. So the accumulators here, this red line creeping up, we can see declining production from the solar panels as the sun is setting. We should see them completely switch. We can see the accumulators draining up here. So the real thing is to see how far that drains before the solar panels start kicking back in again. Should just be a couple of minutes here of watching this, but we'll see. So far it looks pretty good. I'm a little curious how far down the accumulator charge is going to get. If it gets down to 20%, we should see our soft alarm. If it gets all the way to 0, then we'll get our hard alarm, and we'll know that we need to keep building solar panels. But let's see. Yep, solar panels are kicking back in. Okay, so this is good. We've definitely built enough. You know, we're only, what is that? I don't know. Not even halfway drained as we get into the night. Should be the case as the daylight kicks in. We should see this starting to charge again at some point, which it looks like it's just about ready to do. And there it goes. Okay, so we made it through the night. Plenty of accumulator charge left. I think that is going to be, we're going to call that energy independence, folks. So that is exciting stuff. I guess we'll pick those up. Okay, so quite a bit of scaling here. A few that really helped us debug some of the issues we were having with getting the phased construction working. That seemed to work pretty well. And then I really have not had any additional Thundering Herd problems since we added those additional protections. So I think from here I'm going to do some updating of the blueprints offline, and I think next episode we're going to start looking. I reserved a space here for our first science cell, so I think that's going to be a brand new design. So and that may take us multiple episodes to do that design. So we'll begin working through it, but that is definitely a problem for future Mystic Fish. But I think at this point we're now resource independent. We're now energy independent, and it'd be nice to be science independent. I think, you know, I kind of want to get some of the research going anyway, just because at least getting one of these cells going seems like a good idea. We're not quite done yet because we are, as we noted, we're still dependent on the original base for defense out here. And in fact, in more ways than one. So let's see, if we get the debug menu here, one of the things we can look at is show enemy expansion candidate chunks. And so this is where, and so if you look, most of the candidate chunks for expansion are all up here around the borders of the original base. So basically the original base's artillery, by keeping this clear, is meaning that most of the expansions are showing up here, and then they get cleared right away by the artillery. So we're mostly sort of dealing with our own pollution down here in the Megabase. If we see a pollution, we did do a fair amount of polluting while building all of those solar panels and stuff. We're not really polluting that many bases. I think by the time we let this calm down, we'll be back, and certainly by the time we're done, because basically this base is not really going to be doing anything anytime soon. We might still be working up here on the last, this is the last solar cell that we built. Yeah, we're still filling its builder train here. So that'll keep working. Here's so some of these are still working. Let's look at this one. Yeah, but like, you know, solar cell 23 has already quiesced. It's already filled up its builder train and all of its buffer chests. So so before too long, we're gonna really stop polluting stuff up here, and then, you know, it'll gradually shrink back. You know, again, while we're doing our designs, Now that'll probably take us some time here. So let's take a look at the old panel. We are all stocked up on resources. We have plenty of builder trains available to us. So that is good stuff. I guess it's worth noting that I did end up adding another copper outpost just as we were sort of like moving around here. And then the other thing just to mention is I've been parking the landfill Spidertrons just up here in the stone cell, and because we got a little bit of landfill in here, that's actually keeping them filled up in between landfilling episodes. So we'll see if we need to do more landfill building, but for right now that's working. So that's what we got for today. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Until then, bye.